What if one of America's closest allies just quietly walked away? Not in war. Not in diplomacy. But in something far more telling: tourism. For decades, Canadians filled American beaches, malls, and hotels, fueling local economies from Florida to Hawaii. But in 2025, something changed. Quietly, but decisively, millions stopped coming. Was it just inflation? Or is this part of a bigger retreat? A shift in loyalty, trust, and spending power? Today, we're counting down the 10 US states losing Canadian travelers the fastest. Number 10. Hawaii. What happens when paradise loses its most loyal guests? For decades, Hawaii was a winter escape for Canadians, especially snowbirds from Alberta and BC. But in 2025, something cracked. Canadian visits are down nearly 18% year over year. The culprits? Rising costs, a weaker loonie, and long-haul fatigue. Toronto travel agents report declining demand for Honolulu and Maui. Waikiki hotels are seeing shorter stays and fewer premium bookings. And tour operators warn, this isn't a seasonal dip, it's a structural slide. When Canadians stop choosing paradise, it's not just a trend. It's a warning. Number 9. Texas. Why are Canadian travelers skipping the Lone Star State in record numbers? From Austin festivals to Houston malls, the decline is real and local businesses are feeling it. Texas isn't just oil rigs and rodeos. For years, it's been a rising favorite among Canadian families, retirees, even medical tourists. But in 2025, that flow slowed sharply. Canadian travel is down 19%, especially across border towns and Gulf Coast cities. San Antonio and Galveston? Fewer snowbird bookings. Even Austin, once a magnet for digital nomads, is losing its northern pull. Some blame the blistering heat. Others point to Texas politics. But to local shop owners and hoteliers, the outcome is the same. Fewer guests. Thinner margins. No cushion for the off-season. And Texas isn't alone, this trend is rolling across the US. Hit like and subscribe, because the next drop may surprise you. Number 8. Maine. What happens when even your neighbor stops knocking? Maine's border towns, once a weekend ritual for Quebec day trippers, are watching the sidewalks grow still. You might not expect Maine here. But for decades, it's been a cozy extension of Atlantic Canada. Now, that cross-border pulse is weakening. In 2025, Canadian visits plunged 22% from pre-pandemic levels. Bar Harbor, Bangor, once lined with Quebec plates, are seeing ghost town weekends. Gift shops, lobster shacks, even gas stations that once thrived on the cross-border flow are hurting. The US-Canada bond was supposed to be resilient. But in Maine, the chill isn't just in the air, it's in the economy. Number 7. Washington. How does a top trade partner land on a tourism blacklist? Washington state once thrived on BC weekenders, Seattle trips, Spokane drives, Bellingham shopping sprees. But 2025 flipped the map. Border traffic through the Peace Arch and Pacific Highway crossings collapsed, down nearly 30%. Bellingham's malls? Nearly silent. Seattle restaurants? Fewer foreign cards in the machines. Even the ferries from Vancouver Island are sailing emptier. For towns built on Canadian traffic, this isn't just a slowdown, it's a financial storm rolling in. Local business owners in Bellingham described 2025 as the quietest in decades. One even told local press, "We used to hear more French than English some weekends. Now it's just silence." Number 6. Michigan. When the border goes quiet, who picks up the tab? Detroit, once Windsor's favorite weekend escape, is watching the flow from Canada dry up. In 2025, visits from Canadian tourists fell 24%. From Traverse City to Mackinac, hotels are seeing midweek vacancies they haven't seen in years. Casinos near the border are running colder. Outlet malls? Downturn in foot traffic. This isn't just fewer visitors, it's the loss of regulars. And for businesses counting on loyalty and routine, the sudden silence is deafening. A like and subscribe fuels our deep dives and keeps independent reporting alive. Number 5. Arizona. Why are snowbirds canceling their desert escapes? Arizona's golf courses and RV parks once thrived on Canadian dollars. Now, too many spots are sitting empty. Canadian travel to Arizona dropped 26%. With a weak loonie and rising US costs, many are skipping the trip or cutting it short. For a state that once called itself Canada's Winter South, Arizona's seeing summer's silence in what should be its peak. Canadian RV rental bookings in the US dropped nearly 30% from 2024. And some Alberta snowbirds are now choosing southern BC over southern Arizona. Number 4. New York. What happens when your most loyal visitor just vanishes? New York's border economy wasn't a side gig, it was the main act. Canadians flooded Buffalo malls, Niagara shops, even the ski trails of the Adirondacks. But in 2025, those crowds faded. Visits from Canada fell 25%, hitting Western New York the hardest. Plattsburgh Airport, once dubbed Montreal's U.S. terminal, is struggling to fill planes. Gift stores along the border report double-digit drops. This isn't a short-term dip. It's a signal that even close neighbors can drift far, fast. Number 3. Nevada. Can Vegas survive without its high-rolling neighbors? Canadians once poured into Nevada, drawn by casinos, shows, and desert sun. But in 2025, the chips stopped falling their way. Tourism from Canada dropped a staggering 28%, one of the sharpest declines on this list. Las Vegas resorts are cutting comps. VIP lounges are quieter. Even Laughlin and Reno are seeing fewer snowbird regulars. For a state that lives on volume, energy, and return visitors, this isn't a cold spell. It's a losing streak with no end in sight. VIP hosts report lower international spending in 2025 than any time since the Great Recession. Some high-end resorts are now targeting Latin American travelers to fill the gap left by Canadians. These trends are just the start. Tap like, hit subscribe, and follow the fallout. Number 2. California. How do you replace a premium tourist when they stop showing up? For decades, California was Canada's golden escape. Disneyland, Napa, the Pacific Coast Highway. But the 2025 data is sobering. Canadian arrivals are down 21%. In San Diego and Santa Barbara, tour operators are seeing record cancellations. Tour buses from Vancouver? Fewer than ever. Why the shift? High prices, political chill, and better options back home. In an economy this big, even small drops ripple wide. Number 1. Florida. What happens when the Sunshine State's favorite tourists don't return? No U.S. state has relied more on Canadian travelers than Florida. In 2025, that relationship frayed. Canadian arrivals dropped nearly 25% and spending per visitor shrank with it. RV parks are half vacant. Condos are slashing rates. Even golf clubs and Disney resorts are reporting noticeable drops in traffic. This isn't just a slow season. It's a structural shock and a warning to every other state that counted on the maple leaf. These aren't just numbers. They're a wake-up call for states that built billion-dollar industries around Canadian loyalty. From coast to coast, the message is clear. If the bond breaks, the economy bends, and some places might not recover. What do you think? Is this a temporary pause or a permanent shift in how Canadians travel? Tell us in the comments. And if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It keeps Globe Chaos Insights digging into the stories others overlook.